This story is one of the most unsettling scandals to hit the music scene in years. An abandoned Tesla in Hollywood, a missing teenage girl, and the name of a rising star suddenly tied to it all. At first, fans thought it had to be a mistake, but then the internet started digging. What they found connected David Burke, better known as David, to 15-year-old Celeste Rivas in ways that are too disturbing to ignore. From tattoos and leaked lyrics to Discord chats and suspicious sightings, this case is unraveling in real time, and it's left people sick to their stomachs. But to understand just how shocking this story is, we first need to talk about who David really is. Before his name became tied to one of the most disturbing stories in music, David Burke was a young artist on the rise. Born in Houston, Texas, and performing under the stage name David, he broke into the spotlight in 2022 thanks to TikTok. His alt R&B and indie-inspired tracks quickly went viral on the platform, with thousands of users looping his music in videos and sharing clips of his unique sound. For many fans, his songs felt fresh and different from mainstream artists, making him one of those underground names people loved to discover before he blew up. Even if you didn't think you knew him, chances are you had heard one of his tracks without realizing it. But David wasn't just an online sensation. By 2023, he was building credibility in the music industry with some massive opportunities. He landed a coveted spot opening for SZA on her SOS tour, performing in front of sold-out arenas across the country. Shortly after, he joined The Weeknd's global After Hours Till Dawn tour, a career milestone that few young artists ever achieve. He even had a viral Coachella moment that year, though not in the way he planned. Attempting a flip on stage, he fell mid-performance, but instead of embarrassment, the clip spread everywhere, adding to his growing profile. His stage presence, raw energy, and slightly chaotic persona only made him more intriguing to fans. At just 20 years old, David seemed poised for superstardom. He had the voice, the viral moments, the major cosigns, and a loyal fan base eager to see what he would do next. That's what makes the current situation so hard to wrap our heads around. How does someone go from being seen as the future of indie R&B to having their name tied to an abandoned car, a missing teenager, and a police investigation? The contrast is jarring, and it's exactly why this case has captured so much attention. Because the fall of David isn't just about music anymore. It's about a story that feels darker than anyone could have imagined. And that discovery is where this story takes a disturbing turn. In early September, what seemed like a routine procedure at a Hollywood impound lot turned into a nightmare that no one could have predicted. A Tesla had been abandoned and towed away, but staff quickly noticed something wasn't right. A powerful odor was coming from the vehicle's front trunk, and when authorities inspected further, they uncovered something that shocked the entire city: a body hidden inside. What made this discovery even more explosive was the registration. The car wasn't random. It was linked directly to rising music star David Burke, better known simply as David. Overnight, his name was dragged from music blogs and tour promotions into breaking news headlines, sparking confusion, fear, and disbelief. At first, many rushed to defend him, pointing to the timing. David was still on tour, even performing on stage the very same day the discovery made headlines. Fans argued the car must have been stolen, or that someone was trying to set him up, insisting the connection was nothing more than a coincidence. For a brief moment, that explanation gave supporters comfort. But as more details began to surface, from the identity of the victim to strange overlaps in David's personal life, the defense crumbled. What started as a shocking coincidence quickly spiraled into one of the most disturbing online investigations in recent memory. And suddenly, the future of a promising artist didn't just look uncertain, it looked shattered. Because once the victim's identity came to light, everything changed. When authorities confirmed the identity of the victim found in David's car, the story took a devastating turn. The body belonged to 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, a missing teenager who had vanished months earlier. For her family, the news was heartbreaking, but not entirely unexpected. Celeste's mother had been following updates closely and immediately recognized the description released by police. They mentioned a tattoo, clothing details, and other identifiers, and that's when Celeste's mom stepped forward. She told reporters that her daughter had a distinct red "sh" tattoo inked on her right index finger, the same tattoo that matched the victim. That detail became the first undeniable thread tying Celeste to the abandoned Tesla. But what made the situation even more unsettling was that David himself appeared with that exact same tattoo months after Celeste went missing. According to reports, he didn't have it until September 2024, while Celeste disappeared in April of that same year. For investigators and the public, the timing felt too suspicious to ignore. The fact that a young girl with a rare tattoo vanished, and months later the rising artist connected to her death suddenly sported the same design, left the internet in shock. It was no longer just speculation about a car or a coincidence. This detail made the connection deeply personal. Then came another revelation that fueled even more suspicion. Celeste's mother told TMZ that her daughter had a boyfriend named David. Hearing those words was enough to send speculation spiraling online. A teenage girl gone missing, a tattoo overlap, and now the possibility that her boyfriend shared the exact same name as the artist linked to her body. It all lined up too closely for comfort. Social media exploded with theories, timelines, and screenshots as fans and internet sleuths tried to piece together what really happened. Overnight, what had once been written off as a tragic coincidence began to look like a chilling story with David at the center of it. And when people started digging deeper, the connections only grew darker. What happened next turned the internet into a full-blown investigation team. Fans began piecing together photos, videos, and alleged sightings that seemed to draw a direct line between David and Celeste. One image reportedly placed him just 0.3 miles from her home in Lake Eleanor shortly before she vanished, a detail that made people question how their paths could have crossed so closely. Another circulating photo appeared to show David on a FaceTime call with a girl many believe looked strikingly like Celeste. While authorities haven't confirmed the identities in the pictures, the timing and the resemblance were enough to make the internet suspicious. Suddenly, what had been whispers of a connection grew into a timeline of disturbing coincidences that people couldn't ignore. But perhaps the most chilling piece of alleged evidence came not from photos, but from David's own music. A leaked demo from late 2023 contained lyrics that named Celeste directly, sparking widespread outrage and disbelief. Lines like, "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. I smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed," painted a picture that felt far too specific to be random. The song even went further, with another verse referencing intimacy and heartbreak. For fans who had once dismissed the rumors as internet speculation, hearing Celeste's name in a track recorded months before her disappearance felt like a devastating confirmation that something was very wrong. Overnight, people stopped asking if David knew Celeste and started demanding how deep the connection really went. But it wasn't just songs or photos. The internet dug up something even more alarming in David's digital world. If the tattoos and leaked lyrics weren't disturbing enough, what surfaced next made the internet spiral even further. Alleged Discord screenshots began circulating, hinting that David may have directly interacted with Celeste online. In one chat, a user tagged him with the question, "Celeste in here?" To which a reply allegedly appeared, "Hi, David Bark." Another screenshot showed fans joking about whether he had a girlfriend, with one person flat out saying her name was Celeste. For investigators, these screenshots haven't been confirmed, but for online sleuths, the possibility of David casually engaging with a missing girl inside his own fan server was enough to set social media on fire. It didn't stop there. Reddit threads quickly piled on with even more disturbing claims, some suggesting that Celeste's classmates already knew about the relationship and were allegedly bribed to keep it quiet. Others accused David of accidentally exposing her private Instagram account by reposting one of her stories to his main feed, leaving behind what many saw as a digital breadcrumb trail. While none of these claims have been officially verified, the sheer volume of allegations painted a chilling picture that fans and insiders may have known something long before the authorities did. Each screenshot, rumor, and thread only added to the growing sense that this wasn't just coincidence, it was a connection that had been hiding in plain sight. And if that wasn't eerie enough, a single detail about their shared obsession sent shivers through the internet. Just when people thought the case couldn't get any more unsettling, fans uncovered another eerie link, this time tied to David's obsession with Hello Kitty. Celeste's missing person poster described her wearing Hello Kitty sandals on the day she vanished, a detail that hit especially hard once social media began combing through David's online presence. His TikTok profile photo featured the character. He was often spotted with Hello Kitty accessories, and even carried a keychain that popped up repeatedly in his videos. What once seemed like a quirky branding choice suddenly felt like a disturbing coincidence that connected him back to the missing teen in a way that was impossible to ignore. The theories didn't stop there. In one alleged photo circulating online, David was seen alongside a girl believed to resemble Celeste, and she was wearing Hello Kitty Crocs. Fans then noticed what looked like the same purse from that image sitting in the background of one of David's TikToks from April. These visual overlaps left many feeling sick, as if his entire aesthetic carried hidden references to her. While authorities haven't confirmed the identities in those photos, the internet was convinced the Hello Kitty connection wasn't just random. To fans, it symbolized yet another thread tying Celeste to David, raising even more questions about whether his choices were coincidences or chilling reminders hiding in plain sight. But while the internet was drawing its own conclusions, investigators were building their own case. As speculation exploded online, investigators moved in with their own search for answers. In early 2025, LAPD executed a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills home rented by David's manager, Josh Marshall. The property wasn't just some random location. It was a place David himself had been living in, something fans quickly noticed after comparing the interiors to photos and videos he had posted on Instagram. The match was undeniable, showing the same walls and decor that appeared in his music clips. That connection immediately raised the stakes, confirming that the abandoned car wasn't the only piece of evidence tied directly back to him. When police left the property, they carried out computers and multiple evidence bags, sparking even more questions about what could be inside. For investigators, the potential for finding direct digital trails, from private messages and emails to unreleased demos or hidden files, could prove critical in understanding David's connection to Celeste. For the public, those images of detectives walking out with evidence shifted the conversation. It was no longer just internet theories and fan speculation. Law enforcement was clearly taking the case seriously. And as those photos spread across social media, the sense grew stronger that the story surrounding David wasn't just coincidence, but a developing investigation that could change everything. And suddenly, even David's so-called art started looking more like a warning sign. Looking back, fans began questioning something that had once seemed like nothing more than artistic shock value: David's obsession with dark, death-related imagery in his performances. At several of his shows, the stage design featured funeral-style setups, complete with caskets and even a hearse pulling up to the venue. Audiences originally brushed it off as edgy performance art, a way to stand out in an industry where pushing boundaries often gets attention. But after Celeste's identity was confirmed, those same visuals felt deeply unsettling, like a haunting reflection of something darker lurking beneath the surface. The re-examination of his performances sent shivers through the fan base. Videos that once seemed theatrical now felt like eerie foreshadowing. Fans on TikTok and Reddit shared clips of him singing against a backdrop that resembled a memorial, asking whether this was just coincidence or a disturbing insight into his state of mind. While no one can say if the imagery was connected to the case, the timing and tone made many question whether his art had been hiding clues in plain sight. For supporters, it was almost impossible to separate his music from the allegations anymore. And for critics, it was proof that the darkness surrounding David wasn't just on stage, it was bleeding into reality. And once the world started connecting those dots, David's reputation began to crumble. As soon as the news broke, the internet became divided into two camps. On one side were loyal fans who insisted David was innocent, pointing out that he had been on tour when much of this unfolded and claiming the evidence circulating online could be coincidences taken out of context. On the other side, however, were those convinced the clues were undeniable. They dissected photos, shared alleged screenshots, and built detailed timelines on TikTok, Twitter, and Reddit. The case wasn't just trending for a day, it became a non-stop conversation, with hashtags and threads dedicated entirely to exposing every possible connection between David and Celeste. The fallout was immediate and impossible for his career to escape. David officially paused his tour, a move that fans saw as confirmation that the investigation was weighing heavily on him. Sponsorships and brand opportunities that had been lined up for the rising star quietly disappeared as companies distanced themselves from the controversy. Even casual listeners who had only recently discovered his music began questioning whether they could separate the art from the disturbing allegations. What had been the story of an indie success suddenly shifted into a cautionary tale of how quickly fame can unravel when real-world scandals collide with public image. On social media, the tone grew harsher by the day. Memes and viral clips mocked his performances, while commentary videos and podcasts analyzed every lyric, outfit, and statement he had ever made. The same internet that once boosted his career through TikTok trends was now dismantling it in real time. Whether guilty or not, David's reputation had been irreparably damaged, and for many fans, there was no going back. The court of public opinion had already delivered its verdict, and it was brutal. And as for where things stand today, the case is still far from over. Right now, the case remains open, and David has not been officially charged with any crime. Reports confirm that he has been cooperating with authorities, but the weight of public speculation has already reshaped his career and reputation. What began as a shocking discovery in an abandoned Tesla has evolved into one of the most heavily discussed investigations online, with every new detail scrutinized by internet detectives. The unanswered questions about the tattoos, the leaked song, the Discord screenshots, and the Hello Kitty connections continue to fuel speculation and make it nearly impossible for fans to separate David from the allegations. For many, the future looks grim. Even if the courts eventually clear his name, the damage to his public image may already be irreversible. The combination of viral evidence, fan-led investigations, and constant media coverage has turned David into a cautionary headline rather than the breakout artist he once seemed destined to be. As police continue gathering evidence and the internet refuses to let go, one thing is clear: this case isn't fading away anytime soon. Instead, it's becoming a defining moment in the intersection of celebrity culture, online sleuthing, and the harsh reality of a tragedy that still demands answers. And that leaves us with one haunting question. The story of David and Celeste has become one of the most disturbing intersections of fame, fandom, and tragedy in recent memory. What started as an abandoned Tesla in a Hollywood impound lot quickly unraveled into a chilling web of tattoos, leaked lyrics, Discord chats, and eerie coincidences that the internet refuses to see as random. For fans who once viewed David as the next big name in indie R&B, the revelations have been heartbreaking and unsettling. Every new detail, from the alleged FaceTime screenshots to his Hello Kitty obsession, adds another layer of unease, leaving many questioning how much of his art and image may have been hiding something darker all along. At this point, the truth is still in the hands of investigators, but public opinion has already shifted in a way that may be impossible to reverse. Even if David avoids legal consequences, his career will likely never recover from the shadow of this case. What's most haunting, though, is not just what happens to his image, but the fact that a 15-year-old girl's life was tragically cut short, and the world is still waiting for answers about how and why. Until those answers come, this story will remain an open wound for both Celeste's family and a fan base left questioning whether they ever really knew the artist they supported. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. It really helps the channel grow and makes sure you never miss the next upload.